All right, chat. So it appears the stupid Bud Light thing is still a thing. I was actually scrolling through Twitter today when I saw this tweet hit my timeline, and I'm just like, are we really still talking about Bud Light? Are people really still that upset that Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch hired someone, okay? They hired someone to do an ad spot. And keep in mind, a lot of people forget about this part or leave this part out, all right? When Anheuser-Busch did that ad spot with Dylan Mulvaney, they hired a ton of social media influencers across various social media platforms to do that exact same ad spot. Well, maybe not the exact same one, the way Dylan Mulvaney did theirs, but a March Madness Bud Light ad spot, okay? Lots of influencers were hired to do this thing. Dylan Mulvaney just happened to be one of them. And because one of those people, in this case Dylan Mulvaney, happened to be a trans woman, all of a sudden everybody had a problem with it and made a big fucking deal about it. And you guys know my stance. I didn't think it was a big deal at all. At the end of the day, when I decide to buy a nice cold drink, in this case a beer, I don't give a fuck who the fuck is promoting my beer. If the beer tastes good, the beer tastes good. If it gets the job done, I don't give a shit, all right? None of this matters to me. But I especially don't care, like, okay, a trans person promoted a beer. Am I supposed to get mad about that? Because I'm not. I genuinely don't give a shit at all. But in any case, I saw this tweet come my way, and I want to read this tweet for you guys. Day 58, and apparently they had to correct it. It's day 48. Day 48 of the right melting down over trans women. A trans woman being sent a can of beer with her face on it. Senator Ted Cruz demands an investigation. Ted Cruz wants an investigation into Dylan Mulvaney and their ties to Bud Light. What? I actually quote tweeted this, and this is what I had to say about the matter. Investigation for what? Like, literally, investigation for what? She's a social media influencer who did a brand deal. Something all influencers do very frequently. Even I have done a brand deal before. Some of you guys may remember I promoted a mobile game on my YouTube channel a while back. I did a live stream on YouTube where I promoted a mobile game, and I was paid by an advertiser to do that ad spot. It was a fun game. We played it a little bit. I got to play with some of you guys in the audience. It was a lot of fun, right? So influencers do ad spots all the time. So why do we need to investigate an ad spot? A very common thing that happens with social media influencers all the fucking time. Like, it doesn't make sense. Why is she being targeted so hard over something so insignificant? This is a very obsessive and bizarre response to a pretty common influencer sponsorship. That's kind of my thoughts on it. This is a common thing. Why do we need to investigate this shit? So I actually sought out this video because the original poster just put a screenshot. I sought out the video because I wanted to see what they had to say. What is the logic here? What is the logic here between, let's investigate Dylan Mulvaney for this like little ad spot they did on TikTok or Instagram or whatever the fuck, right? So let's go ahead and let's take a look at this. We're going to play this without further ado.
Play that shit!
Here we go.
You're also a member of the Congress Committee and Commerce Committee, I should say, and you want to investigate what Bud Light was doing with Dylan Mulvaney. It destroyed a brand that may not recover. What's your focus?
Anheuser-Busch is going to be fine. Okay, I know they're like dragging on and on about Bud Light and stuff, and I've talked about my anecdotal things that I've saw. First of all, let's be honest here. Was there a drop in the sales of Bud Light? Yes, there were. Okay, some people actually did stick it out with the boycott. I don't think it's enough to where it's significant, but they did experience a loss in sales. It did happen, okay? For a while, the stock dropped a little bit, but it quickly shot right back up. Anheuser-Busch did what any company would do in that situation. They started promoting their other products, and they were able to shore up their stock price and everything because they were promoting their other products in lieu of the controversy about the Bud Light and stuff like that. So, yes, they lost a little bit of stock price at the time. Stock price that shot right back up. They lost a little bit of sales. But I got to be honest, when I go to a local liquor store or a local convenience store that sells beer, I still see people buying Bud Light all the time. Now, granted, I do live in a progressive state, and I'm willing to bet most of the people who live in the progressive state that I live in, which is California, I'm willing to bet most people don't care. Okay? So I will give that little caveat. I do live in California, so probably a lot of the people in this state don't care. But even so, like, Bud Light's still selling, right? Is it selling as fast as it used to? Probably not. But Anheuser-Busch is going to be fine. It's a mega corporation worth, literally, what did I say? When we looked it up, the stock price and shit like that, it was like $120 billion corporation. Let me actually look it up. What is the net worth? What is the net worth of Anheuser-Busch? I probably misspelled that. I always misspell Anheuser-Busch, but Google will fix it for me. Anheuser-Busch's net worth is currently, actually, let me just bring it up so you guys can see it for yourselves. Anheuser-Busch's net worth is currently $116.81 billion. Goddamn.
Thanks for the money, dummy.
Thanks for the money, dummy. Like, dude, they can afford to take a little hit, basically, is what I'm saying. Like, that's a lot of fucking money, all right? Anyway, let's continue.
Well, listen, I can't think of a company in modern times that has more alienated its customer base and seem to have so little understanding of who it is that actually drinks.
The funny thing is, like, lots of people from lots of different backgrounds drink beer, okay? I'm a Mexican guy. I drink beer, right? I know lots of women who drink beer. I know lots of, gay people who drink beer. I know, religious people who drink beer. In this case, trans people who drink. Lots of people drink beer, okay? This whole, like, you're alienating your audience. Not really. Your target demographic or, like, your customer base or whatever. Like, it's silly. It's a silly fucking thing to say because a lot of people drink beer. Lady Blue in the chat does not happen to be one of them because they said they don't drink beer. And hey, that's cool. Drink whatever you like. But there are a lot of people who drink beer, okay? From a lot of different backgrounds, right? And that's fine. So, if anything, they didn't really alienate their audience. They alienated a bunch of people who were triggered over the fact that a trans person promoted beer. What the fuck?
Hold on. Retard break. I need a retard break.
It's just really silly. Like, I've seen people get outraged about dumb shit before, but this was, in my opinion, the dumbest thing that I have ever seen anyone get upset about. Surprise, surprise, folks. Trans people drink beer too. Not all of them, obviously. Some people like different things, but there are trans people that exist that drink fucking beer. All right? There we go.
Bud Light, but this week I sent a letter to the CEO of Anheuser-Busch along with Senator Marsha Blackburn because the CEO of Anheuser-Busch is also the CEO or the chairman of the Beer Institute, which is the regulatory body, the industry regulatory body that regulates itself. And one of the rules that beer companies are supposed to follow is they're not supposed to market to kids. Remember?
That's the angle, chat. That's the angle. This is how they're going to try and get back at Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light for how dare they do an ad spot with a trans woman. Oh, how dare they. We're going to push this like bullshit of they marketed beer to kids. All right. They're going to pull the whole, like, you ever hear like a YouTuber will get in a fight with another YouTuber, or a streamer will get in a fight with another streamer, and like they'll shit on each other and they'll pull the, oh yeah, well your audience is a bunch of 12-year-olds. Like, they're literally trying to pull that. They're trying to make the argument that like her audience is like, young and impressionable kids. And so when they used her to promote the beer, they were promoting beer to kids. And it's like, we're not talking about the same thing as like running a beer ad during like Saturday morning cartoons or some shit like that, which, by the way, don't Saturday morning cartoons like not exist anymore? Did I kind of date myself by saying Saturday morning cartoons? I think I did, but you get the point. All right. We're not talking about a Bud Light ad running on like, an episode of like Power Rangers or some shit. Okay. We're talking about like a social media influencer, which appeals to, multiple different demographics of an audience. Maybe there are some kids in their audience, but I'd say there's probably a decent amount of adults in Dylan Mulvaney's audience. And so they did an ad spot with them to promote to that audience. Okay. But this is what they want to try and pull. They want to try and pull the shit of like, oh, she has a lot of kids in her audience, so we want to get back at her and Bud Light for marketing beer to kids. It's silly. It's really silly.
Remember the whole Joe the Camel thing? This is the same thing here. Well, you know what? Dylan Mulvaney, a massive percentage of Dylan Mulvaney's audience are kids, and Budweiser.
How do we know that for sure? Has Ted Cruz seen Dylan Mulvaney's analytics? Because, a lot of us creators, I know she's real big on Instagram, if I remember correctly. Or is it TikTok? It's either TikTok or Instagram. But, like, has Ted Cruz seen her analytics? You know, because I see, like, obviously, like I said, like YouTubers and Twitch streamers, they'll obviously pull that on each other in arguments as like a meme, like, oh, your audience is full of 12-year-olds or whatever. But like, we don't ever really know, right? I mean, obviously there's some creators that like they do content that clearly appeals to kids. So like you can tell with that. But like in other cases, like we don't really know unless we're looking at that creator's analytics and we can see their demographics and stuff. We don't really know the age of the people that are watching that content creator. So I'd really like to know, does Ted Cruz have access to Dylan Mulvaney's analytics? How do they know that a substantial portion of Dylan Mulvaney's audience are kids? I'd really like to know what gives him that idea.
Was trying, I believe, with this ill-fated marketing attempt to target teenagers. If you look at things, Dylan...
This also plays into the whole, you know, trans people being groomers thing. You know, the whole like trans people are groomers. Like a lot of people who like genuinely hate trans people, they'll go on the whole, you know, trans people are groomers thing. I think that this kind of like is a sneaky way of like a not full mask off kind of way of playing into that too. Oh, a trans woman was promoting beer to kids. Like, come on, dude, it's really silly.
Mulvaney has online, it's things like Days of Girlhood. There's another video where Dylan Mulvaney is singing, "My name is Eloise and I am 6." There's another one where Dylan Mulvaney is shopping for Barbie dolls. These are clearly things aimed at...
Dude, I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen the video in question that he's referring to. I don't know about this video. But like, dude, there's like plenty of like adult people who collect toys. Whether it's Barbie dolls, whether it's action figures, whether it's video games, whether it's, you know, I'm a Lego guy, you know, dude, look at me. Like, look at my fucking setup back here. Like, I love toys, right? I like to collect toys. I like to build Lego sets. I love video games and shit like that. So like, there are grown people who have a hobby of like collecting toys or, you know, shit like that, right? There's a lot of people who do that. So like this notion that like, oh man, she did a video where she was buying Barbie dolls. She absolutely must be trying to like appeal to children. Like, come on, dude. Come on, dude. Are you fucking for real right now? He's fucking for real, isn't he? Holy shit.
Teenagers and even children younger than teenagers, which violates the rules. And so we're calling on the Beer Institute to investigate the degree to which Anheuser-Busch knowingly was marketing to children in going down this road.
I think that's really silly. This is such a stretch. Motherfucker is stretching like Stretch Armstrong right now. So is he complaining of her getting Barbies? He doesn't understand collectors. Yeah, exactly, dude. I have like tons of like toys that were made for kids in this collection and shit like that. But I like collecting shit. So like, that's why I have it, dude. Like, would you say that because I have toys in my background that my content like is for kids? No, I cover like fucking internet drama and shit like that. Like, are you kidding me? I don't think my content's catered to kids. We call ourselves the fucking Coomer Nation. Nothing about my content is for kids. Come on, all right? Anyway.
Senator, you never stop. Senator Ted Cruz, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Jesus. So that's a clip, and I said, marketing the product to kids, this sounds like a cope. It really does.
You are coping.
It sounds like a cope.
Coping and seething.
We bitched and moaned and complained about this Bud Light thing for how long now?
Yes,
and now we're trying to make a bigger deal of it because we're coping. We're gonna make a big fucking cope about it, make a big deal out of a fucking nothing burger. It's literally just cope. It's literally just fucking cope. Oh shit! It's literally a fucking cope. So overall, I think this is silly. This whole notion of like Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney need to be investigated because of like a simple brand deal that lots of influencers do all the fucking time. As a matter of fact, I've literally seen influencers who literally have very largely a child audience promoting shit to their child audience that I don't think they should be. Stuff like gambling, you know, on streaming platforms. Stuff like those like, what is it? Those mystery box services that are basically gambling, promoting that to kids and shit like that. So like, there are definitely times when like influencers have marketed to their very clearly, you know, young audience. And it's not okay, right? Somebody gave an example in the chat of Rice Gum literally promoted gambling to kids. This is true. He literally did that, right? I can understand getting upset about something like that, but this was clearly an ad campaign targeted at adults. Let's be fucking real here. Stop with the fucking cope. Bye.